Chapter 1: Ash beneath the gods. The gods died screaming. No one alive remembered their voices, only the aftermath, the way the land never healed. The way the sky sometimes bled blue light where divinity had split open. Their corpses were gone, reduced to myth and dust, but their power lingered like rot beneath the skin of the world. And where it surfaced, everything twisted. Rain fell black across the wasteland as the young man walked alone through broken stone. Each step crunched over ash that had once been a city. Towers lay collapsed like snapped bones, their spires clawing uselessly at the storm-choked sky. His eye burned, blue not with hopi, not with rage, not with runes. They glowed from within his skull, forbidden symbols etched into his soul long before he had words to name them. An aura of violent arcane force coiled around him, distorting the air, cracking pebbles beneath his boots. Power pressed against his clenched fists, trembling, begging to be released. He wore no armor, only a plain white shirt, soaked through with rain and stained dark by ash and old blood. It was intentional. A reminder. I am still flesh. He stopped at the edge of a ravine where the land had split open centuries ago, when a dying god had fallen screaming into the earth. Blue light pulsed far below, slow and sick light that shit like ev end. The oath stirred inside him. It was older than the kingdoms, older than the ruins now scattered across the horizon. An oath forgotten by history, erased by fire and time. Not passed by bloodline or prophecy. He had chosen it, or rather he had paid for it. He remembered the night clearly, the circle of broken stone, the sorcerers who would not meet his eyes, the knife that cut not his skin but something deeper. They had warned him, power is not wielded. It is endured. The first time he drew upon it, a city vanished. The second time, the sky fractured. Each time, something inside him, thin memories dulled. Emotions faded. Faces of the dead blurred into shapes without names. He no longer dreamed. He no longer feared death. That frightened him more than anything. A roar echoed from the ruins. The ground shook as a corrupted beast hauled itself from the shadows, a thing once sacred, once worshipped. Now, it was a mass of twisted flesh and divine residue, eyes burning with the same blue rot that poisoned the land. The warrior exhaled slowly. If I do this, he whispered to no one, I lose more. The beast charged. He raised his fists. The runes in his eyes ignited, blazing brighter than the storm. Arcane energy exploded outward, ripping the air apart. Stone shattered out, the sky screamed. For a moment, the world bent around him like glass on the verge of breaking. When the light faded, the beast was gone. So was the hill behind it. The warrior dropped to one knee, gasping. His hands shook not from exhaustion, but from something worse. He searched his mind for his mother's face. It was gone. Rain washed over him, carrying ash into the cracks of the earth. Somewhere in the distance, another spire collapsed. Another fracture spread through the world. He stood again. The oath burned hotter. He would walk until there was nothing left to destroy gods, monsters, or himself. Because if the curse ended with him, then perhaps the world could finally bleed out and rest. And if not, then he would become the last disaster it ever knew. The storm eased, but only in the way a dying fire settles quieter, not safer. He walked again. The ravine stretched beside him like an old wound that refused to scar over, its depths pulsing with the remnant heartbeat of the fallen god. Each pulse tugged at him, a whisper of power brushing the back of his mind, tempting, coaxing. He ignored it, but the runes in his eyes flickered, betraying his strain. By dusk, the rain thinned to a cold mist, and the wasteland opened into what had once been a holy city. Marble arches lay half-melted, fused into the earth, as if the world had tried to swallow them before they could poison anything else. Statues of forgotten saints leaned at broken angles, faces eroded until only empty sockets remained. A thin trail of smoke curled upward from the far courtyard. Fire meant people, or worse things that remembered how to mimic them. The warrior crouched behind the shattered remains of a pillar. His hands hovered at his sides, trembling with an instinct older than his name: destroy first, mourn later. But the oath prickled against his ribs, reminding him endure, not unleash. He breathed once, twice, and stepped into the open. The figure, tending the fire, didn't turn at the sound of his approach. She sat with her back to him, cloak pulled tight against the cold, shoulders narrow, posture to still. Allure, he stopped several paces away. Were you followed? The woman stiffened. Slowly, she rose and faced him. Her eyes were brown, not human. But her expression shifted as she saw him, the runes burning faintly through the mist. The air trembling around his silhouette. Fear flickered across her face, and something like recognition. "You're one of them," she whispered. He felt the words like a blade. "I am nothing like the others. You draw on the ash." She took a step back, hands raised as if warding off heat. "You walk where gods died. You leave ruin behind you." "That's not," he stopped. The truth tasted bitter. "I don't choose what follows me." Her gaze sharpened. Everyone chooses. A gust of wind tore through the courtyard, scattering soot across the ground. Beneath it, the earth pulsed faintly blue. The woman noticed, and fear bled into urgency. "It's waking again," she said. "The rift. If it opens fully," he closed his eyes. The pulse below struck like a hammer against his chest. He felt the same whisper he had ignored before, now louder, sweeter, draw deeper. End this. Break the world a little more, and save it. He steadied himself. "Why are you here?" "Because someone told me a man with burning eyes would come." She swallowed. "Someone who could seal what's left of the gods." Her voice softened, but by surviving it, he opened his eyes. The runes dimmed. For the first time in years, the power did not surge forward. It recoiled. The woman stepped closer. "Tell me your name." He hesitated. He searched his memory and found only a void. "I don't remember." Her expression broke, not with pity but with resolve. She touched his sleeve gently, as if grounding a storm. "Then we'll make you a new one," she said, "after we save what's left." Far below, the ravine throbbed again, faster now, more frantic, as if sensing defiance. The warrior lifted his gaze to the broken skyline. For the first time since the oath bound him, he felt something shift, not power, not duty, but direction. "Show me the way," he said. She nodded, tightened her cloak, and led him deeper into the ruins, where blue light bled through the stones like veins awakening. And behind them, the world trembled because one disaster had chosen, at last, not to fall but to rise. Spine, urging him to draw, to burn, to end the trembling beneath his feet. He forced the runes to dim. "Endure! Endure!" "Endure!" That above them, the broken city moaned. Wind slipped through fractured towers, carrying echoes that sounded too close to language. Once, this had been a sanctuary, a place where worshippers gathered to bask in the presence of something greater. Now, the air smelled of old bones and divine rot. They reached the remains of a grand colonnade where pillars taller than watchtowers had collapsed inward, forming a jagged tunnel. Blue light seeped from beneath the rubble, pulsating like the slow breath of a buried beast. She paused, placing a hand against the stone. "It's stronger tonight," she murmured. "Because of me?" "Hast." She hesitated, partly. The rift senses anything touched by Godfall. "And you?" Her eyes flicked to the runes in his. "You're carved out of it." He looked away. They continued through the tunnel until they emerged into what had once been the heart of the city. A vast courtyard centered around an enormous circular seal meters across, etched with symbols so ancient they predated language itself. Most of it had been shattered. Only a curved shard of the seal remained intact, glowing faintly. The courtyard shook as the laws of magic began to fray. Blue, chaotic energy spilled from the shattered seal, a testament to forbidden arts. The rift pulled at the guardian mage, its raw power clawing at the disciplined runes carved into his soul. But for the first time, he wasn't falling into it. He was holding. The heretic mages felt the shift. Their profane chanting faltered. The arch-heretic only smiled. You resist the chaos, they rasped. Good. True power is not caged by rules, it is unleashed. The spellblade stepped beside him, her blade humming. Tell me what you need, she said. The forbidden magic churned inside him, a tempest of unfiltered creation and destruction. I can't release it, he gritted out. This power doesn't obey, it only consumes. Can you bend it? The old magic was never meant to be bent. The arch-heretic raised their arm, embraced the freedom of the rift. Guardian, or we will tear the discipline from your soul until only the chaos remains. A wave of warped energy erupted from their hands. The Guardian instinctively lifted his arm. The power inside him surged, and instead of tearing him apart, it responded. A shield of blue-white force burst into existence, cracking the stone but holding fast. The arch-heretic stumbled back. The spellblade blinked. You can shape it. The rift pulsed violently. So is mine, the Guardian said. She grabbed his wrist, then don't control it. Guide it to impose your own law on theirs. The pattern, the runes inside him pulsed. They were a language of order he understood. The oath he chose wasn't to restrain him. It was to give his will dominion over magic itself. He closed his eyes. The heretics surged, but the spellblade held them back. The Guardian stepped toward the seal, his heartbeat aligning with its pulse. His voice, when it came, was the sound of an unbreakable law: endure. A column of pure order erupted from the seal, blasting the heretics back. The chaotic light of the rift wrapped around the Guardian, but instead of burning, it steadied, forced into structure. He reached down, pressing his hand to the seal. The magic inside him shifted. Less chaos, more will. The runes settled, their purpose now absolute. The light of the rift curved, pulled inward, folding into the seal, until... silence. The courtyard went dark, only the Guardian's eyes remained lit. He staggered. You did it, the spellblade whispered. He didn't answer. He felt something new inside him, but it had left a seed in its place. A new, silent pulse. What did it leave in you? She asked. Before he could speak, the arch-heretic's broken voice croaked. It chose you. The chaos has found a new vessel, and now it will wake through you. The Guardian's blood went cold, because he already knew they were right. The dark wizard crumpled beside the shattered seal, robes smoldering, body twisted at angles that suggested their bones no longer remembered how to be human. Yet their eyes, those blazing, corrupted eyes, never left the warrior. You feel it, they whispered. Don't you? The Eshu, the seed. He did. The rift's residue throbbed inside him, slow at first, like a second heartbeat trying to find its rhythm. Each pulse sent a faint shiver through his nerves, crawling up his spine, wrapping itself around his thoughts like vines seeking purchase. The woman tightened her grip on his arm. Ignore them, she said. You're not their vessel. You're not anything they say. But the wizard's voice was growing steadier, emboldened by the warrior's silence. It marked you, they hissed. We hope seal there. And now, The pattern lives in you. Enough. The woman took a step toward the wizard, blade raised. Wait. The warrior's voice shook. Not from fear, but from the effort of simply staying upright. The woman froze, blade poised in the air. The wizard coughed out a laugh. He feels it tugging. The rift never closes. It only moves. The warrior reached toward his chest, fingers brushing the fabric of his soaked shirt. Beneath it, beneath skin and bone and rune-carved soul, the pulse beat again. Stronger. Wrong. I need to move, he said. Before it grows. The wizard's smile widened. It will grow regardless. The woman's blade flashed. One quick motion clean, silent, the wizard's laughter cut off. Their bodies slumped into the dust, blue mist leaking from the deep wound in their throat. The courtyard grew still, rain, soft and cold. The woman wiped her blade on her cloak and returned to him. Her expression was grim, jaw clenched with something between anger and something that looked perilously like fear. How bad is it? She eyed. He tried to answer. The second pulse struck him mid-breath, doubling him over. His hand dug into the stone as the world blurred, colors smearing into streaks of blue and ash. He felt something stir in his chest, not his heart. Not the oath, but something new. Something alien. Something awake. The woman knelt beside him, gripping his shoulders. Stay with me, look at me. He lifted his head. The runes in his eyes flickered wildly, dimming and brightening like a lantern caught between winds. When he spoke, his voice sounded the louder. Thano, I didn't just seal the rift. He swallowed hard. I swallowed part of it. She paled. Then we need help. Someone who understands these things. Someone who, there's no one left who understands. His breaths came sharp and uneven. The sorcerers who carved the oath. They're dead. I felt it when the runes awakened. Then we find someone who understands anyway, she said stubbornly. There were priest-kings once, wardens, archivists. Someone has to remember something. He shook his head. If this grows, I won't be able to travel far. And if it breaks loose, he couldn't finish the sentence. The woman stood and extended her hand. Then we move now, before it grows. Lightning flashed above the ruins, illuminating the courtyard in stark blue-white light. The warrior stared at her hand, hesitant. He had destroyed cities by accident, shattered the sky by breathing too deeply, turned god corpses into storms just by touching their remains. And she still held out her hand. Storms trembled beneath his skin. Yet he reached, their fingers clasped. And for a moment, just long enough to breathe, the second pulse weakened, as though confused by her presence. She pulled him to his feet. There's a place east of here, she said. A sanctuary built under the last living mountain. If any knowledge survived the godfall, it'll be there. He nodded, though each movement sent tremors through his bones. As they left the courtyard, the warrior glanced back at the shattered seal, now dark, quiet, dead. But beneath the stone, something shifted, as if answering the new pulse within him. The rift's voice was not gone, it was merely waiting. They walked through the night, leaving the ruined city behind. By dawn, the warrior felt every step like a hammer against the second pulse in his chest. It throbbed faster now, hungrier. The woman noticed his stagger more often, steadying him with a touch each time, though she never said anything. Her silence was a strange kind of mercy, one he clung to as the wasteland gave way to broken foothills. By noon, the land sloped upward toward a jagged silhouette, a mountain black as obsidian, rising like a blade piercing the sky. That's it, she said. The sorcerer's spire. The last place the ancient wizards laid their curses. He didn't answer. His breaths came shallow. Each pulse from the curse inside him felt like a hand pressing outward, testing the cage of his ribs. As they climbed the lower slopes, the air grew colder and naturally so. Frost-coated dead bushes, the wind carried no scent. No sound, no life. The warrior paused, chest tightening. Something's wrong. It's the wards, the woman said. The spire was built to contain a powerful dark sorcery. It should the second pulse struck like a spear. He dropped to his knees, hand digging into the frozen dirt. A wave of blue light burst from his palm, spiderwebbing cracks through the ground. The woman rushed to him. Breathe, just breathe, but the power inside him did breathe. And the mountain answered, a deep rumble echoed through the slopes. Not from above, but from within the earth. The woman looked around, alarmed. This isn't you. Something was already. The ground split open. A jagged fissure tore across the path, widening under their feet. The warrior barely had time to grab her arm and yank her away as a slab of earth collapsed into a glowing cavern beneath them. The mountain roared, not metaphorically, not symbolically. A sound like stone grinding against bone thundered upward, shaking loose centuries of frost and dust. Birds, things he had thought extinct, erupted from hidden perches and fled in ragged flocks. The fissure pulsed with blue light. He recognized it instantly, cursed energy. The woman swore under her breath. There shouldn't be this energy here. The wards she never finished. The mountain burst. A column of glowing stone and shattered earth spewed into the sky, raining molten debris across the slopes. A shockwave hurled both of them backward. The warrior slammed into the ground, breath knocked from his lungs, vision going white. When he blinked his sight clear, the mountain was changing. Veins of blue light crawled up its sides, spreading like cracks in living stone. Entire ridges shifted, trembling, as if something inside the mountain was trying to force its way out. The woman stumbled to his side, pulling him up. This isn't a simple curse, it's a seal, a massive one. It's been dormant for centuries, and you woke it, he said bitterly. No. She grabbed his face and forced him to meet her eyes. It woke because it recognized you. The second pulse hammered through him in response. The fissure ahead widened with a deafening roar. And from within the mountain, a shape emerged vast, serpentine carved from molten stone and ancient runes. A sentinel, the kind the old sorcerers forged to guard their darkest magic. It should have been dormant. It should have been blind. It turned its head toward them. Its eyes burned the same blue as the curse within his chest. The woman whispered, if that thing awakens fully, it'll tear down the whole mountain. The sentinel raised its massive arm, runes along its surface igniting in sequence, forming symbols of forbidden sorcery. The warrior felt the second pulse sync with the runes as if both belonged to the same dark design. Run, he said. We can't outrun a sentinel. Not from it. He shook his head. From me. The sentinel's arm descended. The warrior thrust his hands forward, not calling the power, but letting it spill, just enough to redirect. Arcane force exploded outward, slamming into the ground and knocking them both off the collapsing ledge. They fell, tumbled, slid down a slope of loose stone until they hit a lower plateau. Above them, the sentinel tore free from the mountain, roaring in a sound like collapsing continents. The peak split down the middle, rubble cascading like a broken dam of earth. The woman coughed, staggering to her feet. We need to get inside the spire before that thing destroys everything. The warrior forced himself upright, every muscle trembling. If I go near the wards, this curse inside me might be contained, she said firmly, or broken, but the sentinel won't stop unless we get to the core of the spire. And if I lose control before we get there, she met his gaze without flinching, then I'll stop you. The second pulse thrummed, as if amused by her confidence. Above them, the sentinel raised both arms, gathering a storm of cursed light. The warrior steadied himself. The woman tightened her grip on her blade. The mountain groaned as they sprinted across the trembling slope as the Guardian's roar rolled through the mountain like thunder trapped in a coffin. Stones cascaded behind them in a deadly rain. The warrior felt each impact through the second pulse in his chest not as pain, but as recognition. The Guardian wasn't attacking him. It was calling to him. They reached a narrow ridge flanked by sheer drops. Ahead, an ancient archway jutted from the mountain's flank, a structure of black stone inlaid with gold sigils that still glowed faintly despite the centuries. Half buried by landslides, half cracked by time, but unmistakable. The entrance to the sanctuary. The woman pointed. There. Move. They sprinted. The mountain shuddered again, this time with such force that the warrior nearly lost his footing. A shadow passed overhead, massive, hulking before a crash sent debris tumbling across the ridge. The Guardian had reached the slope above them. It was coming fast. Go, the warrior said. I'll hold it back. The woman didn't even slow. No, you won't. I'm serious. If it hits us with that light, then don't let it. She grabbed his wrist and dragged him forward. The Guardian's footsteps shook the ridge. A blue glow lit the air behind them as it gathered another burst of rift energy in its chest. They were seconds from being obliterated. The woman reached the archway first and slammed her free hand against a circular sigil carved into the stone. Golden veins shot through the entrance, tracing ancient patterns, illuminating runes older than the kingdoms. The mountain answered the runes in a deep, metallic groan. A barrier flickered across the doorway, then faded, unlocking. She pulled him through, and the stone slammed shut behind the mere heartbeats before the Guardian's blast struck the mountainside. The entire sanctuary shook with the impact, dust raining from the ceiling. But the door's massive slabs of carved volcanic stone held firm. For now, the warrior sagged against the wall, breath shallow. The second pulse steadied, then deepened, like something settling comfortably at home. The woman noticed his wince. Is it worse? It's different. He clenched his fist, feeling the faint trembling in his bones. The mound isn't suppressed. It's resonating. She frowned. With what? He didn't know, but the sanctuary did. The corridor ahead lit up in response to his presence, torches flaring to life with blue-white flame. Glyphs glowing along the walls like veins awakening beneath skin. The woman tightened her grip on her blade. It's responding to you, he swallowed. I think it recognizes me. Why? He didn't have to answer. The sanctuary did. A voice, old, metallic, and distant, echoed through the corridor. Vessel of the patterned bearer of the devouring oath. Welcome home. The woman's breath caught. It knows you. I don't even know myself. The flames brightened, as if mocking the truth. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, circular and cathedral high. 6 colossal statues of faceless guardians lined the perimeter, each holding a different weapon: blade, staff, shield, hammer, spear, and a great bow. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal of obsidian stone carved, with spiraling runes. Above it floated a shard of crystal blue, pulsing faintly. He felt the second pulse in his chest sync with it, as if they'd always been one. The warrior stepped forward unwillingly, his body moving toward the pedestal even as his mind screamed to stop. The woman grabbed his arm, planting her feet and yanking him back. Not until we know what it is. The sanctuary responded again. Another voice, not the mechanical monotone of the first, but something fractured, choral, layered, echoed from the statues. The seal, heart calls to its lost fragment. Reunion is inevitable. The warrior went still. The rift, he whispered. What I absorbed. It's part of that crystal. The woman's eyes widened. Then if the two pieces reconnect, they won't reconnect, the echoing voice murmured. They will complete each other. The warrior staggered as the second pulse surged, in ecstatic hunger. Blue light leaked from his eyes, fingertips, and the scars along his arms. The shard above the pedestal brightened in answer. A deep hum filled the chamber. The woman stepped between him and the shard. No, not until we know what it does to him. The sanctuary's torches flared. Implosion. Rebirth. Outcomes uncertain. The warrior's legs buckled. He fell to his hands and knees as the power inside him trembled violently, trying to tear free. The woman rushed to his side. Stay with me, stay, he gasped, clutching his chest. It's not attacking me anymore. It's anticipating. Anticipating what? He lifted his head. His eyes glowed like twin stars burning through a collapsing sky. Me. A deep crack echoed from outside the sealed doors. The Guardian had found them, and the sanctuary once. Then the doors shattered. They exploded inward, slabs of stone hurled across the chamber in a storm of blue energy. The Guardian stepped through the dust cloud, its towering form wreathed in crackling light. Its hollow eyes locked onto the warrior. The woman raised her blade and stood between them. You'll have to go through me. The Guardian roared and charged. The warrior's second pulse surged in raw panic, and the shard above the pedestal screamed with light in response. A beam fired from the shard, striking the warrior's chest and blasting him backward. He was suspended in midair, paralyzed, as blue-white tendrils of energy wrapped around his body, pulling him toward the pedestal with unstoppable force. The Guardian lunged, trying to intercept. Too late. The tendrils snapped, yanking the warrior directly into the shard. Light consumed him. The chamber shook. The mountain groaned. An expanding wave of energy erupted outward, knocking the Guardian into a stone pillar. The light faded. Silence. Then a figure stood where the shard had been. Not the warrior. Not quite. His eyes glowed with unfathomable depth. He inhaled, as if taking his first breath. I am complete. The Guardian staggered upright, trembling not in rage, but in reverence. It fell to one knee. The vessel's glowing gaze locked onto the Guardian. And he spoke one word, a command that made the entire chamber quake. Rise. The mountain rises. The Guardian obeyed. Stone grated against stone as the massive creature pushed itself to its full, towering height. There was no aggression in its glowing eyes now, only a profound, ancient loyalty. It stood at attention, a sentinel awaiting its purpose. The woman took a hesitant step back, her sword tip lowering to the floor. What? What are you? She stammered. The vessel turned his gaze from the Guardian to his own hands. He could feel everything. The cold stone, the trembling foundations of the mountain, the frantic beat of the woman's heart. I am what this place was built to create, he said, his voice a chorus of echoes. A key, a will, a weapon. He looked at her, and for a fleeting second, she saw the man he had been, a ghost trapped behind the storm of his glowing eyes. Is he gone? She whispered. He is the foundation upon which I am built, the vessel replied. His fight is over, mine is just beginning. Suddenly, the chamber groaned again. The ground bucked violently as cracks spider-webbed across the walls, light pouring through the shattered doors. The stars were moving. No, the mountain was moving. They were ascending. Great chunks of the floor tore away, floating in the air. The ancient sanctuary was reconfiguring itself around him into a throne room for a new god. The vessel's gaze followed hers out into the open air as the entire mountain peak tore free, rising into the night sky. "The mountain rises," he said, his voice carrying the weight of ages. He turned back to her, his expression unreadable. "Its long slumber is over. The world below has forgotten. They will be reminded what it means to fear the gods of the earth." The mountain's awakening was not quiet. It was not subtle. It was not something the world could pretend was a weather phenomenon, a tremor, or the superstitious ramblings of frightened villagers. When the mountain rose, the Skadi, not physically, but in a way every living creature felt in its blood. A thin ring of blue fire circled the highest clouds, rippling outward like a tide of light. Rivers shuddered in their beds. Trees bowed not to wind but to pressure, as if an invisible giant passed overhead. Birds dipped in mid-flight, stunned. Wolves howled without knowing why. It was a moment of universal dread, shared even by those who did not see it, because something ancient had opened its eyes, and the world remembered fear. Far to the south, in the city built from a god's ribs, High Priest Nerethus staggered during morning rites, clutching the altar as blue luminescence flickered through the temple bones. The great rib arches hummed, shaken from a centuries-long slumber. Acolytes gasped as hanging bone chimes clattered violently, ringing out an old death song once forbidden to speak. Nerethus whispered, horrified, "A heart has awakened." One acolyte shook his head. Impossible. All the hearts were destroyed. Then why? Nerethus hissed. Is the skeleton singing? The massive god bone cathedral groaned, the echoes vibrating through the city. Every worshipper knelt not in devotion, but in fear. Across the eastern deserts, a caravan leader watched dunes ripple strangely, forming geometric patterns, concentric circles, radiating outward from the distant horizon. His guide fell to her knees, pressing a hand to the sand. "Something has stirred beneath the mantle," she whispered. "The old bones." There, humming, the caravan leader frowned. "Like a creature." "No," she said, "like a warning." And in the floating citadel of scholars, three arcanists hovered over a cracked scrying mirror that refused to stop shaking. Silver runes spiraled uncontrollably, distorting the reflection until it showed a fractured image of a rising mountain, glowing like a wound. "It shouldn't be possible," muttered the eldest. "The heartline died when the gods did." Then explained the resonance spike. Another snapped. "It's off the charts. The last time we saw a signature even close to this." The mirror screamed. A pulse of blue light exploded from it, knocking all three arcanists across the room. Only one rose quickly, trembling. "We're not dealing with a relic," she whispered. "This is a rebirth." And in the ruins of a forgotten battlefield, shards of divine metal buried deep beneath ash and broken armor began to glow faintly. One shard quivered, rotating toward the direction of the rising mountain like a compass needle finding its true north. A soft chorus of metallic ringing filled the ruined grove. Something old remembered its master. Something older remembered its killer. Meanwhile, atop the awakening mountain, the vessel stood at the new summit, the wind screaming around him as though caught in a cyclone. Blue fire circled his feet, tracing sigils across the stone sigils the world had not seen since gods walked it. His presence alone warped the air, bending light in subtle distortions. He stared out at the horizon where storm clouds parted for him. He saw farther than mortal eyes should. He felt deeper than mortal souls could. The guardian knelt beside him. Below, emerging from the sanctuary, the woman staggered onto the trembling peak. She gasped for breath in the thin, icy air. "Tell me you can stop it," she shouted over the wind. "The vessel didn't turn. I cannot. Then control it." "I am," he said. Her jaw clenched. "This isn't control, this is catastrophe." He paused, fingers twitching as if responding to unheard voices. Catastrophe, he murmured. Is the world learning to shift again? Lightning crackled overhead. Not white, but blue, streaking from cloud to cloud like veins of living energy. She stepped closer. Listen to me. You're strong enough to choose what happens next. You always were. I no longer choose, he said quietly. I fulfill. Her heart dropped. That's not you. Finally, he turned toward her. For an instant, just one flicker, she saw the man beneath the glowing shell. The tired warrior, the one who never wanted any of this. I remember your fear, he said. Your voice. The way you stood between me and the Guardian. She swallowed. Then remember yourself. I am trying. The wind stuttered around them, and I am losing. Before she could answer, the air tore open beside them. A vertical split of shimmering blue. Something stepped through. Not a beast. Not a ghost. Not a god. A figure. Cloaked, faceless. Humming with old divinity, the vessel went still. The Guardian snarled, lowering its stance. The woman drew her blade. The figure bowed its hooded head. And in a voice like broken prayer, it spoke. Heartbearer, the others have awakened. For a breath, the world held still. The wind that had howled around the risen mountain quieted. The Guardian froze mid-snarl, its limbs trembling with suppressed instinct. Even the vessel's luminous pulse dimmed, lowered to a wary thrum. Because the cloaked figure's presence wasn't simply powerful, it was familiar. Familiar in a way that made the vessel's bones ache. The woman felt it too. A grief she couldn't name crawled under her skin, rising like a memory that wasn't hers. The figure lifted its faceless, hood toward the vessel. Heartbearer, it repeated. The others come, the veil has cracked. The ground beneath them trembled not from the mountain, but from something far older. Far deeper. The vessel's voice was cold, layered, almost crystalline. You should not exist. The figure's head bowed slightly. Neither should you. A ripple of tension snapped through the air, not hostility, but recognition. Like two ancient fragments seeing each other clearly for the first time in centuries. The woman stepped forward, blade trembling in her hand. What are you? Another Guardian? Another corrupted remnant? The figure turned toward her, and for the first time, its hood shifted as if something inside were trying to take shape, to show a face it no longer knew how to wear. Frizzed softly. To him, the woman's breath caught, and in that moment, the vessel flinched. Not visibly, not to someone untrained, but she saw it, a flicker of pain beneath layers of glowing runes. A crack in the divine calm. The vessel's jaw tightened. That was another life. No, the figure whispered, that was your life. Before the heart hollowed you. The sigils along the vessel SE arms flared, reacting to emotion he could no longer contain. I am not hollow. Then show me, the figure challenged. Show me the man who swore the oath to save us all. The woman's eyes widened. What oath? The vessel shook not physically, but as if something inside him recoiled. Lightning split the sky in a violent arc of blue fire. Do not speak of it, he whispered. But the figure stepped closer. It was not an oath of destruction. It was not meant to bring ruin. You swore to break the cycle that killed the gods. The cycle that corrupted the land. The cycle that is awakening them. The last word echoed like a quake, and the sky answered. A thin fracture split across the heavens, not lightning, not light, but a scar. A tear, a wound. The woman stumbled backward, staring upward in horror. What is that? The figure spoke without turning. The barrier between this world and the divine remains, It's breaking. Because of me, the vessel murmured, "No." The figure's voice grew urgent, trembling. Because the other heart-bearers rise to claim you. The vessel's glow flickered. Claim or destroy. Yes, a sound rolled across the horizon, a deep, resonant boom like a drum made of storms. The woman pressed a hand to her chest. What is that? The figures, who'd lifted toward the scar in the sky. The first of them, the storm treader. He breaches the veil. The vessel closed his eyes. A crack of emotion raw, human cut through his expression. Not yet, he whispered. It's too soon. The figure reached out, placing a trembling hand on the vessel's arm. You were never meant to awaken alone. The vessel opened his eyes, and for the first time since becoming the heart, tears glimmered there. Not of water, dot of light. They burned faint trails down his face. I can't remember him, he whispered. I can't remember myself. The woman felt her throat tighten painfully. You can, she said. You just need the mountain buckled. A shockwave tore through the air, hurling all three of them to their knees. Stones split. The sky scar widened, spilling threads of crackling blue lightning. Something enormous moved behind the veil. Something with wings. Something with hunger. The figure's voice broke. We don't have time. The vessel rose, light pouring from his hands, swirling around him like a storm, preparing to take form. He looked at the woman, and despite everything, despite the runes, the power, the transformation, his voice shook. Stay behind me, please. Her heart shattered a little at the plea. Because he wasn't commanding her, he was protecting her. The figure stepped beside them, cloak whipping in the unnatural wind. The sky rippled violently as a colossal silhouette pressed against the widening tier. The vessel spoke one final warning. They will try to take my heart. They will try to break this world again. He clenched his fists, but his glow intensified. But first they will face me. The sky exploded. Light poured through the wound, and the storm treader descended.
The sky tore open, and my world ended. A monster of shadow and lightning descended. Then he stepped in front of me. As his shield cracked under the monster's blows, so did my hope. He charged, and I could only whisper, "Please come back." Then ... he felt a scream tore from my throat. Hope died, but I wouldn't let him die alone. I ran to his broken body, my fear replaced by a fierce love. I'm not letting you face this alone. As the beast loomed for the kill, a pillar of light erupted. The cloak burned away ... and my mind fractured at the face I saw.
The mountain wall trembled, shedding dust as a fissure bloomed open in eerie silence. A corridor of raw, luminous rock pulsed before them. They stepped inside. With every footfall, a low hum grew louder, vibrating not in their ears, but deep within their bones. The tunnel ended, opening into a space so vast it felt like a void. And there, suspended in the impossible darkness, was the source. An orb of flawless crystal, tethered by veins of crackling blue energy. It was ancient, terrible, alive. The heart in Keller's chest answered with a violent lurch, and he collapsed. 8. A silhouette descended tall, cloaked in flowing radiance. Its face was a shifting mask of light and shadow, but its eyes were constant, twin stars of cold, empty brilliance. A voice came not from its mouth, but from inside the heart Keller carried. I have found you. Myra stepped instinctively in front of him, staff raised. Stay back. The figure extended a hand toward Keller. Return what is mine. You forged the hearts, Keller said. The figure nodded. I forged life from light, and I forged the hearts. Rule, creation Juan Terrenet. You carry my first heart. The heart of Dominion stolen from me. Give it back, or be unmade. Myra's fury overtook her fear. No, you don't take his life. The figure flicked its hand. A shockwave hurled Myra across the plateau. Myra, Keller roared. The figure tilted its head. I am creation's rightful heir. Let me unmake the mistake the gods left behind. The heart inside Keller seared with unbearable pressure. It wasn't a god. I saw it descend, a terrifying shape of light and sorrow. It spoke, but not with a voice it spoke inside Keller. I had to protect him. I stood before him, staff shaking, and told it to stay back. It ignored me, demanding Keller on the heart of dominion. When Keller fell to his knees, my fear turned to fury. You don't take his life. I screamed. Then, a flicker of its hand, a blast of force. When I could see again, bruised and broken, it was pulling him away. Gailoch, being unmade right before my eyes. The sky came apart, not like cloth tearing, not like lightning splitting clouds, but like the world was exhaling its final breath. The crack in the heavens widened into a blinding wound, spilling light so intense that the mountain was bathed in ghost-white brilliance. Winds friend, taste of eggs. Keller stood at the center of it all. The heart inside him was no longer a pulse, no longer a presence. It was a star pressed inside his ribs, burning, fracturing, devouring itself in its struggle to break free. The figure of Radiance the Maker, the one who forged the heart, stared at him with an intensity that felt like knives. You cannot contain it. You were never meant to. Keller's breath came in jagged bursts. His skin crackled with arcs of blue flame. Hair lifted in the violent wind. Every heartbeat felt like a hammer blow. I know, he rasped. He looked to Myra. She was kneeling, gripping her staff like it was the only thing keeping her from being torn away. Her eyes were wide, shimmering not with fear, but with a grief she tried desperately to hide. He forced a smile for her, ragged and flickering. "Thank you," he whispered, her lips trembled. "Keller, don't single quotes T. please. We can find another way. There isn't one." The ground beneath him fractured into a spreading lattice of glowing veins, each one pulsing in time with the heart, with his heartbeat, with the world's. The Maker stepped forward, each footfall dissolving stone into dust. "Give it back, end your suffering. Let this world return to what it was meant to be." Keller shook his head. "No!" The Maker's radiance flickered with something like fury. "You cannot defy me. I forged the heart. I forged you." Keller met its starfire gaze with a steadiness he didn't know he still possessed. "No," he said calmly. "You forged a weapon." He lifted his hand, palm upward. Blue energy swirled like a newborn galaxy, violent and beautiful. "But I made a choice." Myra's voice cracked. "Gailoch." He turned to her, and for the first time, the heart softened its wild light, dimming as if making space for something gentler. "You showed me something," he said. "Something the Maker couldn't forge. Something power couldn't burn away." "What?" she whispered, tears threatening. "Humanity." The Maker moved with sudden fury. "Enough. Return the heart, or be annihilated with it." Keller breathed out slowly. "I wasn't meant to survive this," he said. "None of us were." He spread his arms. "But the world will." The Maker lunged, lightning cracking, reality bending around its outstretched hand. Mira screamed. "Kayeluehi." He closed his eyes and let go. The heart exploded. Not with fire, not with destruction, but with remembrance. Light swept outward in a tidal wave, engulfing everything. The Maker's form shattered, dissolving into a cascade of shimmering particles torn apart by the very power it had created. The mountain disintegrated in silence. The sky fissure collapsed inward, sealing shut like a wound finally allowed to heal. The world burned white. and then dimmed into a soft, blue glow. A glow that lingered like falling snow. When the light faded, Myra was on her knees in a silent field of crystallized ash. The heart was gone, the maker was gone. Antkailoch. Keller stood where the storm had been, his outline painted in drifting light. For a breath, Myra thought he was alive. She reached out, fingers trembling. Kailoch? He turned toward her, smiled. It was the same weary, gentle smile he'd worn when they met. His body. It was carved of light, edges dissolving, fading like morning frost. Myra, he said softly. She lunged forward, clutching his chest, but her hands passed through him like mist. No, no. Please, Keller. Don't go, don't leave. He cupped her cheek with a hand made of shimmering dust. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm not really here anymore. Her tears fell silently, each one catching the last remnants of the heart's glow. You saved the world, she choked. We were supposed to save it together. We did. His form dimmed further, pieces drifting away. Myra, you made me remember who I was, even when the heart tried to erase me. His voice wavered. You gave me back my name. The wind carried soft, luminous particles into the air, the last remnants of the heart. They swirled like stars around Myra as Keller's form fractured. Live, he said, not for me, not for the past, for yourself. Keller, she reached for him again, grasping at fading light. He smiled one last time. Thank you for letting me be human. Achi then. His final words were barely breath. Remember me. And then he dissolved. A quiet ripple of light washed over the land. The storms were gone. The veins dimmed. The sky was whole. The world at last was still. Myra fell forward, arms wrapping around empty space, sobbing into the cooling dust. She stayed there until the winds died, until her tears ran dry.